It's time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure. So let's step outside and hit the trail.
This episode of the Up North Journal podcast is brought to you by PSE Archery,
Carbon Express,
Fourth Arrow Camera Arms,
Wind Scent Hunting Sense,
Killer Food Plots, Seeds, Supplements, and Attractants,
Cabela's,
Spot Shooters,
Limb Walker Turkey Collar,
Antler Action,
Family Tradition Tree Stand,
and Twisted Mind Bowstrings. And don't forget, you can catch us in syndication at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on goodtalkradio.com. Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal podcast, everybody. And we're sitting in the cabin, another glorious Sunday, and I'm wiped out, man.
You are beat. I'm getting there.
But I got my coffee.
We got some coffee to make it through the show, and then I'll go crash.
Yeah, right on. Is the basketball game still going on, by the way? I don't know.
I want to go say yes.
I think so. So everybody's watching. Obviously, you're not watching the basketball game, so thanks for spending time with us tonight.
Spend an hour with us. We'll talk a little bit of some things we did over the weekend. We'll talk about a class you went to. Interesting.
Yeah. Where do you want to start?
Why don't we start with what you did on Thursday morning?
Thursday morning.
Kind of different. You don't hear everybody saying, hey, I'm going to get up and go to a pollination seminar.
Workshop. Yeah, seminar. Habitat. It was actually kind of like a habitat workshop. It was put on by our local county here, Genesee County Conservation District. And the person we all know and love, Anna Mitterling from MUCC, was there giving presentations as well.
Oh, she did give presentations as well.
Yeah, yep.
Okay, cool.
Talking about habitat, talking about pollinators. Basically, you say pollinators. What are you talking about, pollinators? We're talking about bugs. We're talking about bees. We're talking about birds. Anything that helps pollinate plants and spread the pollen from one part of the plant to the other part to produce the fruit,
right?
What have you?
And the big one you mainly hear about right now are the honeybees, and bees are on the decline. And
yeah, it was a big topic.
Actually, they talked even into the butterflies and stuff.
Yeah, two of the things. There was one butterfly. I can't even pronounce the name of it, but it's basically going extinct here in Michigan, or extinct period, and it's found in Michigan and certain parts of the southwestern Lower Peninsula because it's very habitat specific.
Really?
Which I found out yesterday, talking with Emily, the marketing directors at Cabela. Her brother actually works at Harson's Island.
Oh, yes. He's the Harson's Island DNR
wildlife specialist.
Yes, wildlife guy. That's his office.
Yeah, so I was talking with him about it, and he actually knows the lady doing some of that research.
Okay.
And he said, that butterfly, I can't remember the name of it, but it's very specific habitat for that
really
butterfly
specific.
for that butterfly to be able to exist.
So as its habitat goes away, so does the butterfly.
Right, and it's
gotcha.
Lower southwestern Michigan and in Canada, parts of Canada. I don't know where in Canada, but they're wanting to do some further research on it. They're also doing research on the monarch butterfly, which I didn't know. When it travels from Michigan, it flies south
to Mexico.
Yep. How long do you think that takes?
As the butterfly goes, I'm thinking that's got to take a month or two.
3 years.
3 years.
3 generations, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, to make the trip. I can't remember if that's round trip or one way. If it's a one-way ticket.
3 years.
Yeah, but it actually dies and reproduces and dies along the way. And how that generationally happens for that bug to get there and then get back to Michigan and know where to come back to is totally amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the northern range is basically northern Michigan, maybe parts of Canada, but yeah.
And then as far as north as they go.
Yeah, pretty much.
Really, and it takes 3 years. Wow.
So they're having, obviously we're losing habitat for those, but the butterflies and the bees are the big ones that really work the habitat.
Right, and the bees especially, they've been talking about the downward trend of the bees going on.
Yeah.
There was a beekeeper there.
Yes, he is the main distributor for bees in Michigan. He is the guy.
The bee king?
Yeah, he gets the bees and distributes them to other beekeepers and sellers around the state. And he has on his website, he actually starts selling bees January 1st, and he said he was sold out by the 2nd or 3rd or 4th day of February. So a month.
That's, and I don't know what his limit or quota is, but that's kind of cool in a way.
He told me how many millions of bees they were, but it was incredible. But he said that the United States, the lower 48, does not have enough bees in it to pollinate all of the almond trees, the almond crop in the state of California alone. That
is an amazing fact.
Yeah. So we're losing, he said last year we lost like 50% of what we had. So,
do they know what they're attributing the downward trend of bees to?
Basically, using herbicides, number one, chemical. Second thing is the mites. There's mites that kill them.
I heard the big one was a mite thing going on. And it was killing them. I know people, obviously, with herbicides and people. But, it was like a little mite thing was getting at the bees.
Right. And he said the common mistake most people make when you're doing a food plot and you want to spray it and you want to kill off the vegetation, round up whatever you're using, and you want to use that herbicide so you can, kill it out and then replant later.
Right.
He said a lot of common mistakes people make is they'll get 2 or 3 different chemicals to attack different plant varieties.
Okay.
And he's like, okay, bee friendly, bee friendly, bee friendly. Okay, so they're good for the bees. They'll dump them all together, and then they'll use that in one application. He says you change the chemical composition by mixing different things together.
It becomes non-bee friendly.
Bingo.
Okay, I see how that's
going. So, guys, if you're out there and you're spraying stuff in, whether it be a garden, whether it be your yard, whether it be a field for food plots.
If it says bee friendly, just stick to that application at that time.
Yep.
Because once you mix them, it changes it.
Yeah, it changes the chemical composition.
That's really interesting. That
so
and then out at his place, which is right down the street.
Yeah, it's as a crow flies from here, it's probably 10, 15 miles away, roughly.
He gave you a number of how much honey his place produced last year.
52 tons.
104,000 pounds of honey.
Yeah.
It's a lot of honey.
It's a lot of honey. Yep.
And that's in 1 year. That's in one season, right?
One season, yep.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That must be, I don't know how long they're seasoning for that to do that, but
right.
To me it seems like I'm going to say it's like spring, summer, and
right.
a little in the fall, but that's some serious gathering and doing what they have to do to make it into honey.
Right. Well, and we've thought about it. That was one thing my camp manager at our deer camp, we've been thinking about. We got food plots. We've talked about planting some different types of trees and things, and we're kind of rethinking all that right now at this moment. But overall, we're looking at, okay, we're planting all this stuff. How do we help nature? How do we help pollination? How do we make that stuff happen? We thought about bees, and it's like, okay, he said a basic beehive, a hive costs you about $400, the hardware and everything to make to have your a beehive.
Okay.
And then you take that and you put your bees in. These bees are about $120. And you got a beehive. The beehive lasts, pretty much forever if you take care of it. Now, the bees, on the other hand, if you're not taking care of it correctly. Now, you had an interesting point the other day. You asked me, well, do you need to collect all the honey?
Yeah. Do you have to, if you're not into the honey side of collecting?
He says what happens is the hive will split and you'll have a swarm. I do remember that.
Oh, the hive will split off and...
Yeah, or the whole hive, all of them will take
box
will
split.
No, the actual colony. The colony of bees will
they'll leave.
Yeah, they'll just leave.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, okay, house is full.
So you're basically cleaning house so they stay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I get it.
Right.
Now the question I have for you.
Probably the same question I had, never got answered. Go ahead.
Well, it has to do with, okay, so if you're thinking about putting them on the camp, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you've got a bee box out there. What can you do to stop the bears?
Yeah, that was my question. Never did get it answered.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one presenter went to the next, and by the time we got to the very last one that was doing something on water, it was time for me to book and get to work. So I never did get my question answered. I've got the information to contact the guy, and I don't know that he would have the answer. I'm thinking
you would have to get it off the ground.
Well, we talked about suspending.
Exactly.
But the problem is bear climbs poles as well, whether they're wood or metal. We had, back when we could feed, before they changed the baiting laws, we had those feeders.
Yep.
Well, the poles were, 3-4 inches around. You had
piping.
4 of them, and they climb up them and hit the spinner and knock stuff out of it, So
a beehive would be nothing.
Right. So, putting them on something suspended in the air, you'd have to get them up high enough where they couldn't get to it. But the other problem is them climbing. So I thought, well, what if you suspended it between 4 poles and had cabling to it, and you could raise and lower it?
What I'm thinking is just like...
But I don't know if the wind the movement would bother the bees.
Oh, okay.
I don't know an answer to that.
My thought was kind of like what you said, was put it between 2 trees.
Yeah.
With a crank system
to
let it down. And
Yep. We used to do feeders that way a long time ago.
Yeah, to keep them away from the bears, right?
Keep them away from the bears, and it worked. It kept them away.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it kept the bears away from it.
See that's amazing.
Because they couldn't walk a tightrope.
Because
well, they can in the circus,
right? They can.
They carry a little.
But
umbrella.
that's the thing is something like that. Because if you said so for $150,
right,
get you a beehive. You do one a year, whatever it is,
right.
But then all of a sudden, Mr. Bear comes along and your bee split on you. You're kind of bumming.
Yeah, well then it's $120 to fill it again. You got to clean it, all that stuff. But
depending on if he destroyed your beehive, because he's not.
The bear.
He's not going to politely take the top off and say no.
No, he's not. But
no.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of different issues dealing with bees. I think in the northern regions, you'd have to talk to a beekeeper up there. They probably got.
Oh, I'm sure they do. I know there's professionals that will bring their bees out to your fields. And, they'll drop off how many hives, and then they go on and all they ask is to come back and get the honey and
to help pollinate the crops,
pollinate your crops and everything. And then what happens is they come back, clean the hives.
Yeah.
And that's the way it works. And at the end of the year, they come collect them.
The other thing I found really interesting that was part of the workshop was talking about natural grasses and prairie grasses, using them for fawning grounds and bedding areas.
Right.
A lot of guys use switchgrass.
Okay.
We've tried it at our camp and it didn't work. And I found out why. Is because it wasn't planted in the right spot. It was planted in sandy soil that was really dry. That switchgrass, they said, is a wet ground type of grass.
Oh, you're in sandy soil.
Yeah, so
that ain't gonna grow too good.
No, but there's places on our property along field edges, like the east side of my field, I think would do well because that's a fairly wet area.
Well, you get really good fawning grass when you let the rye
go in front. Yeah,
just let it go, and it comes up to hip high. And
oh shoot, there's times that we've actually had grass almost 6 foot tall.
Really?
Yeah. The rye field it would grow up and get about 6 foot tall.
And I know you've let that grow to kind of provide protection.
Yeah, we actually saw the bears actually come through that section of grass. And he had. Well, Dr. Kroll, he talked about it. He's talking about bears have a very systematic way of being predators towards fawns and searching for them. And that's one reason we left that grass so tall. And we've seen it at camp. They get on their hind legs and, they'll kind of look and sniff and move and get down on all fours, move a little close, and they're working their way through that grass.
Right, exactly. And okay, so you found out that wasn't planted in the right spot.
Yeah.
That makes a difference.
Summer, short summer grasses are in dry spots. The taller grasses, like switchgrass, is you plant spring or fall in the cooler parts of the year. Plant them in wet areas.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I found out why that didn't work. It's like go to these guys. I guess the bottom line is here: go to these workshops if you're looking for information. It's something that you're trying to do and it's not kind of working. Ask somebody who knows, or get with somebody who can help you.
Right.
There's plenty of people out there, that are willing to help.
Exactly. Well, there's people willing to help.
Come out and evaluate your property and help you with plans that way too.
Absolutely. So. You can have wildlife management plans.
Yeah.
They'll come out, help you take a look at your property. Foresters.
Yep. Foresters. Yep.
Oh,
and that was part of the DNR representatives were there, and they were talking a little bit. Some of them can come out and help you with certain things. But there's a lot of things you can do with grasses and with you're like wildflowers and milkweed. Why do I want to plant that? Well, it helps with pollination. Well,
wildlife flowers, everything works in an ecosystem.
Right.
It's just not a bad thing.
Yeah, it's like you don't want a whole food plot full of wildflowers, but there's a place for it.
No, but if you have the edges,
right? Yeah, there's a place for it. So
you can move them.
Yeah. So that was kind of the workshop in a nutshell.
That's pretty cool.
So
somebody, especially right now coming into spring, as you think ahead.
Sure.
Why not throw some wildflower seeds out just to.
It helps the turkeys. It helps the pheasants. It helps all the critters out there.
Right, and right now we're in that little bit of in-between time here before we get the things popping up and going green on us.
Right on. So
definitely.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're bumping up here on our first break. Why don't we step outside? We take our first break. We come back. We had a couple questions thrown at us before the show talking about turkey calls, what to use, what not to use. And actually, I got a new call here that I want to show you guys. So we're going to step outside and take our first break. We'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has reinvented the way you buy bows. From now on, you can make the most educated decision possible
by basing your bow choice specifically on your shooting needs and goals.
All you need to do is ask yourself, what kind of shooter am I? What do I want to achieve?
PSE will help find the right category for you.
So, what kind of shooter are you?
Find out at psearchery.com.
Killer Food Plots have been helping property owners for over 20 years create premier whitetail habitat. Whether replenishing your soil with their all-natural Organics Fusion pellets or planting a premier KFP food plot seed blend to help your deer rebuild their bodies through spring and summer while supplying the much-needed high energy during and after the rut, you can trust that Killer Food Plots family and their products will help your deer achieve their full potential.
Welcome back. Second segment of the show. And, hey, Jeff, what's going on? Got Jeff on with us. Got a few people here chiming in and listening in. And we had a question before the show started talking about turkey calls.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to it right now.
Okay. I'll let you find that.
Well, thank you. It was in our teaser video. That's where it was. Right? Oh, listen to that.
The little turkey call.
Right.
That is my old Lynch world champion turkey caller. This is a number 102. I believe what they're selling now is the 102F we saw in the store today, actually.
Right.
And this one says you can order from Liberty, Mississippi.
Liberty, Mississippi. Is that what you said?
They don't make them in Mississippi anymore. This is an old one. This is old.
They don't make them down there anymore?
No, actually, I think the package said Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. That's where they make them now.
All right, so put out our little teaser video.
Yeah.
And then we got some feedback from Adam Kemmer.
We know Adam.
Adam, yep. He wants to kind of throw out there, beginning turkey hunters, what calls should, it's either they shouldn't start with or they shouldn't they start with.
Should or should. It looks like a typo there.
Right, it's a typo.
Okay.
But it's a good question, really, because obviously the one in your hand, we feel the box call is probably one of your more easier ones to manipulate and use.
Yep.
Right? So for a beginner, the box call would be a great way to start.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be fancy dancy one here. Let me see if I got my other one in here.
Yeah, let me see. You show the people, I'll look.
Oh, no, it's over here, Dan. Look at it right here. I got my turkey gear spread out all over the place here.
Right.
This one here is a Primos called the Graphite Prospector. It's got a wooden paddle, and it's got a composite box on it with a wooden vibration board. And this one here, it does what it needs to do. It needs some chalk. It needs some work. Yeah. I think I probably paid, I don't know.
Yeah,
20, 30 bucks.
And that's
for
one
this.
thing we notice about box calls is they can go anywhere from $10, 15, up into the hundreds, depending on who's the maker and what they want to do, right? But for the easiest type of call we feel is a box call. That one you can manipulate pretty good, and then from there you move on to your pot calls, and obviously the last one is the mouth call, and that is a tough one. Mouth calls are a tough one too.
I would not recommend a new turkey hunter to try a mouth call in the woods. I would, if you want to try one, but practice with. I wouldn't take it out in the woods and hammer. Start working on it right away as a first time hunter.
So
that's all it is. It's just hand motion.
Yep, that's all it is. You're getting the basics right off the bat of and it's pretty simple. It's right in front of you.
And that's a basic box call. If it's two-sided, this is two-sided vibration board. Two vibration boards here on this one. And you just work the paddle across the top softly. It's very easy to use. I mean, we hand these to kids. Kids can make these things work.
Absolutely. They can make them work just by standing there with a little bit of direction, and away they go.
And if you want to try, work into a pot call like Danny's got over here.
Yeah, I've got our famous limb walker game calls. We got the plastic, double-sided. Woo, go over here.
Right there.
There we go. Got our double-sided glass over slate, green plastic there. And then we got a glass with a wood soundboard inside. Oh, what else we got?
If you're going to try a pot call, I would recommend just trying your basic slate call.
Exactly. I was just about there. Obviously, we got an aluminum and a slate. And let's go to this one because we think this one's probably about the easiest.
Let's hear it, Dan.
Is finding a striker. So here we got glass over slate. Let's play some slate. Sounds pretty good. Do a little glass. Let's see what kind of difference we get out of it.
Glass takes a little bit more attention to play.
Yeah, I think the easiest is slate. Needs minimal movement. Takes a little bit of rough, not as roughing up like you do glass.
And that's I like the slate for the fact of depending on what wood it's in as far as the actual pot call itself, can make it sound different. What striker material you're using, the shape of the striker. There's so much versatility, and that's why I really like a pot call. So it just gives you that flexibility when you're out in the field. You carry 3, 4, 5. I carry sometimes 10 different strikers.
Right, exactly.
To get those different tones.
And speaking of carrying, you're going to be also adding to that, which you got this week.
Yes, I did. I got a new call. Got me a new call from Limb Walker here. Let me change cameras real quick. Folks, he calls this his red slate. I call it my Roll Tide call. Look at that. That is beautiful right there. That is really? Red slate. And if you look real close towards the bottom, let me move my microphone over here. There is a streak through that.
A vein.
Yeah, a vein. I call it the winning streak. I love it.
Really?
But this is my Roll Tide call. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's your Roll Tide call.
Now, I've been working on this a little bit and learning this. This is for...
You've been working on it all weekend.
Clucks and purrs, okay? I've never experienced a call with slate this hard. This is a hard slate surface.
And then, he sent up this striker. This is a different striker. This is a cluck and purr striker, he called it.
Yeah, and it looks like...
I think that's
red cedar?
Red cedar.
If I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And the way Tim shows how to hold this is different. I'm going to... Here, you talk about it.
The way we watched him on Friday nights on his show.
That's how I normally hold it.
Right. That's how you normally. But he holds it higher and different when he wants to.
Kind of like this here.
Right. So we're trying to mimic that, Tim. And so don't laugh at us.
I'm probably going to butcher this thing, but
you're
basically dragging the striker across it.
Yeah. Now try that on a regular slate. Yeah, just the strikers are per, and just the
Is that what he says?
Are
okay.
Per strikers. Okay. That's just red slate, not a Roll Tide slate.
It's Roll Tide. It's my Roll Tide. I got to learn to get the right amount of pressure on it.
That's all it is pressure, right?
So, Tim, I know I'm not doing it justice.
Yeah, that's why we watch your show on Friday nights, Tim.
Yeah, so I can learn how to run these things.
Right.
I love the sound of this. This is on black walnut. And to me, man, that's just, it's got a sound that I've not heard out of any of my other calls. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. And this has a glass soundboard to it. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And Tim, since you're listening, could you tell me, because I had this question I didn't know, and we're trying to figure it out, the slate, what thickness of slate does it matter?
Does the thickness of the slate matter to the tone of the call?
Right.
Because we saw some down at the store today.
And they looked thinner than others.
Yeah, they were really thin. They were a lot smaller too. I mean, there was some that was, I don't know, maybe the size of a tennis ball.
There was one that was about the size of a tennis ball. and that looked really thin.
Yeah, maybe one the size of the bottom of a Coke bottle, even smaller.
Right. Tim says you're getting there with the sounds. Practice, practice.
Yeah, well, I've been practicing.
I've been practicing all weekend.
I made everybody in the store mad up at the registers.
Right.
Because we spent 6 hours in the store today and yesterday both. But you know what? When we were running that call, we had a lot of people stopping and like, hey, what is that? You know, they saw the color of it and they heard the sound. Like, what are you running? You know,
right? Exactly. And that was a lot of the questions we had from the adults, and that again, a lot of new beginners out there, you know. And
actually, we did give a card away. So, Tim, you might be looking, you might see somebody from Michigan getting a hold of you.
Right, exactly. Hopefully they do. Yeah, it's real interesting to listen to the new guys and asking their opinions of what needing to be done and how to do things. But it was always fun. So then what we were there mainly was for the kids.
Yep.
Because we were giving away calls. And when the little boy tells you that his favorite show is Northwood's Law in Texas, the Texas Game Warden one, and
Southern Justice,
right? Yeah, so he's really into that. So he was excited when he got to take home a game call. And,
yeah. I thought he was going to fall over.
Right, exactly.
Like, this is mine. I get to keep it.
Yeah, that's right. So that was fun, and watching him go off smiling.
Yeah,
but just knowing that he watches it was pretty cool.
You know, just something simple, putting something in a kid's hand and letting them, you know, spending time with them, helping them out, encouraging them, and teaching them something about the outdoors. You know, I tell you what, you can't go wrong. And, you know, that's kind of what we've always tried to do. But the way things are going in society, you know, we need more people to step up and get out and teach kids and help kids and getting them out there, because otherwise it's a lost cause anymore. I'll tell you the truth. Right. What's been going on.
Exactly. And to Tim answered our question, thickness and diameter can make a difference in sound. The thinner, the higher in tone.
Okay, that makes sense.
It does. So there you go. And that one, it wasn't no wider, as round as a tennis ball. That was really small for you.
The smallest one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was in a starter pack, so you got to start somewhere.
Well, and the other one, won't mention any names of who made it.
But that was driving me up a wall.
I did not like that.
That was like,
for the last, we were there 2 weeks ago, and I didn't like that call.
It was like nails on a chalkboard for you.
Yeah. Actually, Tim knows which one it is, because he was at Cabela's, and it was the same one they were giving away at his store.
Yes, exactly. So
I did not like that call.
I was driving Mike up a wall when I'd run it. But it was loud.
Yeah. So getting back to the question, you know, what to use? Start with a box call, something really simple, or get you a nice slate call and run that for first time. You know, that's kind of the go-to things for beginners to get them out in the woods. And really, people are intimidated sometimes by a slate call.
And what we did show,
but they're easy to use.
And what we did show to one customer, because he was a beginner, he had a slate call, but he only had one striker.
Right.
And so we showed him different strikers that we had with us, how the same call makes the different tones.
Yeah.
And he was totally blown away by that. And he said, okay, so they happen to have a 3-pack of different strikers. And I said, here's 3 different types of strikers.
Right.
Have at it.
You know, and I guess that's the one thing when I go into the aisle where all the stuff's at, and you're helping people, whether you're showing them your own personal calls or you're showing them something there that's in the store, and you're trying to explain some of these things, the variety of strikers, having multiple strikers. Why? There's only one company there that was selling. It was a 3-pack.
There's only one company that did one of 3 things. They put out a package of 3 strikers.
Yep.
They also sell the chalk.
Yep.
And they also, they own the slick stick.
Right.
But I'm sure that's just a generic thing and overall, but they're the only company out there that puts out the supplies needed.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing was a lady really liked it. It was a box call, like a holder to keep it together from moving around.
Okay. Keep it from chirping as you run through the woods. Yeah.
She thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, only one company out there that puts all those out there. That's very interesting.
Yeah, and that's the thing I don't like is the fact that you got to buy calls to get multiple strikers.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's how I've got my strikers through the years, except for my 2 that I call my go-to. I bought these 2 in a pack together. They're laminated wood. They're just, what camera? Okay, we're on this camera here.
Yeah, we're over there.
You know, different shaped end. One's hollow, one's not. One's got a bulb head on it. The other one's kind of slender and round.
Yep, exactly.
But they're real hard. I use these a lot along with, now this one's going to go in the pack, definitely, the cedar one. And there's a couple others that I carry with me that I always make sure that I've got with me in my pack.
Right, and you notice how these work. Oh, that's interesting. One is hollowed and one is not.
Right.
So it gives you the different metal, the thickness.
So why don't we see more variety in strikers being available in the stores for people to buy? I mean, I understand they want you to buy more calls, but there has to be a way to be able to get these out.
Yep, exactly.
It's frustrating.
It is.
It's real frustrating.
But it was interesting that was one of the questions out there, and I think
decoy setup and placement was a big one this weekend too.
Right. That was how many decoys do you use? Right. Mm-hmm. So how many do you use? What's your setup? That was a good question. Calls, beginner calls, what to use, what not to use.
Yep.
And that played right into Adam's question, right?
Yeah.
Which calls? There was another question. I can't think of it right now.
Well, think about it. We're going to go to a break. We come back. Hopefully you'll have it.
All right.
So we're going to step outside. We're going to take our last break. We come back. We'll see if Danny can remember what he wanted to ask.
Right.
We'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has always dominated the speed category. Now, the most revolutionary cam system ever to hit the market has perfected the shooting experience. Introducing PSE's Evolve Cam System, featuring extremely high let-off capabilities and the smoothest draw cycle in history. No other cam system has ever delivered this level of total comfort and total control. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
Killer Food Plots have been helping property owners for over 20 years create premier whitetail habitat. Whether replenishing your soil with their all-natural Organics Fusion pellets or planting a premier KFP food plot seed blend to help your deer rebuild their bodies through spring and summer while supplying the much-needed high energy during and after the rut, you can trust that Killer Food Plots family and their products will help your deer achieve their full potential.
Welcome back. Third segment of the show. Did you remember the question?
Yes, I did.
And?
Do you have any turkey game bags to carry the decoys in?
Decoy bags?
Yeah. It was like a couple times.
Yeah.
One yesterday, one today. It was like, at first, it was we got stumped, but we were able to answer the question.
Yeah, kind of routed them over to the duck waterfowl section using decoy bags for ducks.
Right, exactly. And that's the way it was like, the question kind of like, I had to think about it, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Well,
because not all decoys are totally collapsible.
No, most of them. I mean, you look at the store shelf now. Most everything's like a full formed figure.
Yep,
bird.
And because that led to the Avian X's, which are inflatable, which leads to it's nice, but do you want to shoot your decoy? It's like ugh.
Well, that's the thing,
shoot your decoy.
Yeah, you get birds coming up and pounding on the decoy, and all of a sudden do you shoot when you have opportunity, or do you shoot when the tom gets away from your decoy, if that's the case?
And the instructions were a little odd, but
yeah,
I was like, okay, I understood what the purpose was, but the timing of all the steps was like, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to find a hot shower out in the woods.
Place decoy in hot shower, then blow up.
Right, and I'm like, wait a minute, what if I want to? So
right,
but that was another observation is Chesterfield being so close to Canada.
That was, game laws.
Game laws were being asked about because a lot of the people are from Canada.
I mean, literally, we're what, less than 5 miles from Canada?
Literally.
I mean, as a crow flies.
As a crow flies, you're right there.
I mean, were we on the river or the lake there at that point?
We were on the lake.
Okay, so across the lake. How far across the lake is Canada?
It's pretty close, actually.
We're at the southern end of the lake or the northern end?
We're right at the
middle.
Yeah, you got to go further down to get to the river.
So halfway across the lake.
Yeah, we're at the almost the biggest, widest part, I guess.
Okay, I got you. So
if you go down to the if you go down south, you'll get to the river, and then it's right there, obviously.
Right.
If you go a little north, you'll get closer to the border.
So how far will we have to drive to cross?
Well, see, that's the thing. Now, to drive to cross the border, actually, you either got to drive north or south, and then, let's say, to get to Detroit Tunnel, probably be about
15 miles?
Half hour
No, I'd say time-wise. That's traffic.
Right. Well, you're at 20-mile road, so it takes 20 miles to get down to the border.
Okay. North to Port Huron?
A little further.
A little further.
Yeah.
Okay. But straight across from us, I mean, before we turn in, when we're taking...
If you were to go straight across, you'd drive right into Canada.
Right.
So, but as the customers arrived yesterday and today, they were asking about different things, and they were mostly turning out to be from Canada.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, okay.
The biggest thing that was about the movement of decoys. You've got the moving fans. You've got the fan umbrellas that you can actually get behind and move.
Yep.
Well, in Michigan, those are illegal.
Right.
It's a mechanical decoy. Even the ones that
scoot and shoots.
Yeah, scoot and shoot. Or the one the fan you clamp to the barrel of the shotgun. It's got the little thing where you can shoot kind of through it.
Yep.
It holds on to the shotgun. But yeah, at that point it becomes mechanical, and those are illegal.
Right. And then that was it. And how many birds could you take?
Yeah.
I think they can take 2 over there.
Yeah.
And then that was the decoy was a good question. But yeah, it was really interesting to see those questions coming out. And I'm from Canada, and
right.
And then, but the one guy kind of explained it. He explained it that over where he's from in Windsor, he's got like basically one hunting store to go to.
Right.
This is my choice is one, or I drive over here and I've got the Cabela's to Bass Pro to Dick's or Field and Stream to Gander Outdoor. He said I've got like now 4 to 5.
Right.
So
there's price competition where over in Canada, he said everything's expensive because there's one store and you pay it or you come across the border and get it over here. So,
we got a question.
Okay.
This is going to be a good one. Jeff McAvoy. Hey guys, when patterning your shotgun, should you stick with your hunting ammo or can you get away with cheaper version from the same manufacturer?
Okay. You know what I'm going to say.
Well, go ahead and say it.
Stick with your hunting ammo. Whatever it likes to eat is what you feed it. I know you're trying to save money, trying to pattern your gun. You go, okay, so if I use, Winchester Supreme, what's the brand? The
Winchester
Longbeards.
Oh, Longbeards, XRs.
Yeah. XR.
Extended range.
And I'm using a 3-inch Magnum, and I'm using number 6 shot because that's what flies good.
Or you're using 3-inch Remington Nitros.
Okay. And now, out of them, can I use a standard 3-inch Remington 6-shot, or can I use a standard, cheaper version of the Winchester 6-shot? I take it that's the way you're asking the question.
I think what he's asking is if you use Winchester and you've got Winchester X's, but then you got Winchester XRs, could you practice with your Winchesters?
Practicing and patterning is 2 different things.
Well,
are you practicing shooting, just getting comfortable with the gun, or are you trying to pattern the gun?
Well, he's saying patterning.
Okay, but if you're patterning the gun, feed it what it wants. In what patterns in it. I've said this a million times. I said it in the store to people. I've got 2 Remington 870 12 gauges, 870 Express. Same exact gun, same exact full turkey choke tube in them. One gun shoots Winchester Supreme number 5s. The other one shoots Remington Nitro number 6s. And that's what patterns in those guns. The same exact gun, but yet still they eat 2 different styles of ammo.
Right. Now, if you're just practicing for the sake of practicing and not worrying about patterning, then sure, go right ahead and shoot away. But I would suggest, like Mike, try to find what your gun eats the best and spits out the best.
Feed it that diet.
And give it that diet, because you can, but I think you'd get more bang out of your buck if you use what the gun likes and find out what the gun. Now, if you're using 4, 5, and 6, let's say you get a box of 4, 5, and 6s, and you find out the number 5s are most preferred. Can you shoot the 4s and 6s? Sure, but just remember that the 5s are your best pattern out of them.
Right. Yep, and if you're using a sight, I guess that would play into if you're using a red dot scope sight or red dot mount.
You'll see in a red dot.
Don't start moving to follow the shell you're shooting. Figure out which one pattern's the best, and then move that sight pattern to hit that thing dead on.
Shoot each size, see what your density is at 25 to 30 yards. Get your best pattern. Call that one good, and if you shoot this 5s and 6s as just shooting, don't start moving. Say nope.
Right.
4s is where it's at. That way, when you put the 4s in, you know exactly where you're gonna go.
Right.
It's always good to know if you shoot a 5 or 6 in case it's a little right, a little left, a little high, a little low. That okay, if I do have to an emergency, let's say you used your last 4 shell, and all you got is a 5 that knows where it goes.
Right. So I hope that answers the question. Hey, Jay Scott.
Jay Scott is out there.
Mr. Big Buck, what's going on, my man? Haven't heard from you in quite a while. Thanks for tuning in tonight.
But definitely, as far as using the same manufacturer, you will definitely get the different loads over the different brands.
Right. Yeah, I believe in sticking with the same thing that the gun likes. That's kind of the way I roll.
Now I can understand that question because some of those loads for 5 gets up into
they're pricey
range.
Yeah.
So are you kind of don't want to shoot a lot of them? Right. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But that's why I've never really shot any of those top end loads, I guess if you want to call it.
Well, if I find a shell that works and it's a cheaper round, that's what I'm going with. Like I said, I've played around with a few of the others. It's just I know what my gun likes to shoot, and that's what I shoot. So
now, one of the problems I am having is finding in 20 gauge anything different than a 5-shot.
Have you found many manufacturers in 20 gauge turkey loads?
I
have a hard time finding those.
Yeah, they're out there. They're hard to find.
Yeah.
The brand I'm trying to stick to, 5s.
I found 6s is what I've ran across, but I haven't had to look for any in quite a while because the kids are all grown up now.
Right.
So
my gun will eat 5s.
Jay asked, "What's in season now in Michigan?" Love the cameras. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. There's not much in season right now. Actually, the only thing I think that was in season right now in Michigan was the Easter rabbit this weekend at Cabela's.
And if you saw the picture on Facebook, you understand.
Well, here, you want to help them out there?
Yeah, show them that picture. See, it was a nice time had by all at Cabela's that we got to sit down and talk with Mr. Easter Bunny. But then
things got just a little bit evil. We got mischievous, and they didn't quite like this picture too much when they took it.
They liked it.
Well, the Easter Bunny didn't like it. He's got his hands up.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah. We got to have fun when we're down there,
That's right.
We get mischievous at times, and, sometimes we get a little carried away.
You got to break up the monotony.
Right, so.
But we knew who the Easter Bunny was, so
right.
He was willing to play along with our funning games.
But, yeah, there's not a lot, really, that's in season right now.
No, not at all. There's some fishing out there, and there's some little bit of, I think, bunny, rabbit, coyote.
I think squirrel season's ended. That ended the first week of March.
15th,
we got bunnies now until the 31st.
Yep, and then they're done till we start our turkey season, 3rd week of April.
Right.
And as far as coyotes go, is that all year?
Coyotes are good all year, private land only.
Groundhogs?
Private land.
Okay, so there you go.
Raccoons, private land. Yeah, if they're about to do damage. And everyone I've seen is guilty of sin and they're about to do damage.
But you did see a tick eater today.
Did, yeah, we saw a possum, an old grinner.
Yeah, surprisingly, it kind of shocked me seeing him in the middle of the day.
We saw 2 turkeys today on the way to Cabela's.
And I saw 2 turkeys on the way here.
So they're out moving around.
They're out moving around.
The 2 turkeys we saw today this morning.
Of the freaking highway.
Dead middle of I-75 southbound.
I don't know what they were doing.
They're almost getting hit. That's what they were almost doing.
You're right, they were. It was like, hello, move over.
Right.
So, but
that was crazy.
That's all we got going on right now until we're going to kind of shut it down for a couple weeks and start going after the turkey. And hopefully we have some success at that. Because I'd sure like to use this. I would sure like to use Tim's turkey sling.
And that is for
carrying your turkey out of the woods. Right there. You take that, wrap it around the head, wrap it around the feet, like that.
And then over the shoulder.
And over the shoulder. Carry them out. Keeps your hands free. Carry your blind, carry your chair, carry whatever else.
Shotgun.
Plus it gives you 2 hands free, which is nice because if you're walking out, and plus it's a nice bright orange. He also has them in pink too, so it's a bright color. So like me, being on private or state land, when I'm coming out of the woods, I like people to know I'm coming out of the woods.
Right.
Especially if you got a turkey wrapped around you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
I don't need anybody shooting. So.
Well, I tell you what, let's step outside, let's take our last break. We'll come back and wrap things up, and we'll talk about if we're going to do something next week, because next week is Easter.
Yeah.
And we need to kind of make sure that everybody is on track for what we got going. All right, we're going to step outside, take our last break. We'll be right back after this.
Acceleration is part of PSE's DNA. PSE pioneered the speed movement. Now they've developed the vapor category to help you find the most powerful bows on the market to fit you.
High speed equates to intense power and building the momentum you need to be successful. Are you a vapor shooter? Find out at pscarchery.com.
Killer Food Plots have been helping property owners for over 20 years create premier whitetail habitat. Whether replenishing your soil with their all-natural Organics Fusion pellets or planting a premier KFP food plot seed blend to help your deer rebuild their bodies through spring and summer while supplying the much-needed high energy during and after the rut, you can trust that Killer Food Plots family and their products will help your deer achieve their full potential.
Welcome back, everybody. Last segment of the show.
Yeah, last segment of the show. Just had a good week of Cabela's. You were at Pollination, which is kind of an interesting thing. I still think, I think when I'm going to plant this year, I think I'm going to try to get some packet of wildflowers, maybe put on the perimeter or something.
Okay.
Just to keep that in mind. It kind of.
I'm trying to remember. Let me check after the show. I've got all the information. Actually, it's in my Jeep. On the types of forbs you want to plant to attract certain insects. And that's the other thing, it's like, okay, we want to plant flower. Getting back to the insects. What do turkeys eat?
Insects.
Bingo.
It ends up being turkey food.
Yeah. So, there's
and they can't get them all.
Yeah, there's another reason to plant some of this stuff. It's not just for the deer. It's not just, because it looks pretty or whatever, or the pollinators and all that kind of stuff. I mean, like I said, it all works together. So it's important.
Exactly. And like I said, it's an ecosystem, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You use herbicides to kill something, but you're adding to grow something else.
Right.
And it's an ecosystem, and as humans, we can do a little bit to help out the world.
Yeah, maybe think, okay, so you need to clear a field. Okay, you don't want to use Roundup on it. You don't want to use some other herbicide. Think about a prescribed burn. I went to a prescribed burn workshop and learned enough to know that I'm going to need help if I ever think about doing that. It's a task that's kind of daunting, but
it's possible.
Done right, it's a good thing. It puts nutrients back into the soil.
And totally resets the landscape, right?
It does, yes, absolutely.
Because I've seen it done over here at the park.
Yep.
And after you go in there, it's black.
And then it greens up
as
like
black
that.
As can be, charred. And then you give it a few weeks into the growing season, because if they're going to do one, they'll do it here soon.
Right.
And all of a sudden, within 2 weeks into May, when the weather's really starting to pop, it's green.
Right. And they're talking about setting back grasses. Getting back to the summer grasses or the fall and spring grasses. It depends on what time of the year you burn. You do a burn, whether it's in the spring or whether it's in the fall. It enhances certain things to grow and pop at certain times. The way you do it. So, So those are some important things. I like I said, I recorded it all. Recorded all the audio. I've got the files. I need to kind of go back through, listen to them again, take additional notes. And it's a lot to take in when you're there for 3 hours and you're listening and trying to write down notes and everything. And, so that's why I record those. But yeah.
Who's that put on by?
That was put on by the Genesee County Soil Conservation District.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
So
I didn't know who put it on.
Yeah. Actually, for those of you here in Michigan, there's a lot of them going on right now in the southern part of the Lower Peninsula. Check your county, get a hold of those people and say, hey, do you have one of these coming up?
I'm pretty sure it's a timing thing, so they'll probably start working their way up as the warmer.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe,
that's the way I think of it.
Yeah, could be.
Timing is everything.
Certainly.
And we just got, as we were talking over Facebook, we got a instant message from Charles Byram, who was out shed hunting, looking for those sheds on the ground. I know he's found a couple. He's posted a picture. But then he checked one of his trail cameras, and he might have a reason why he's maybe not finding all the sheds.
Right.
Because their sheds are still moving.
They're still attached.
As of March 24th, yesterday, there are some on there that are still attached and moving.
Yeah.
It might be a little hard to find those.
Right.
Just saying.
A little late in the year.
But Charles, eventually, it should be soon.
Yeah.
Probably next month, right? They should.
Yeah, here in the next week or two.
They're going to get pushed out.
Right.
So, interesting. But, like I said, in the break, typically, for years I remember, I always had a buck or two that lasted into March. But this year, it was done by February, which is odd. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what that means.
I've heard part of it's nutrition and health, stress.
Right.
Those types of things.
Deer were playing yesterday like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I had 2 young does. I'm assuming they're does. But they were running around. You know, like how dogs play? They'll chase each other.
Yeah.
These 2 were going at it, and it was the most funniest thing because they were booking through the woods, out into by the pond. They did a big loop, and the other deer just kind of stood in and looked at them like,
come on, kids.
What are you doing?
Right.
And it kind of got him nervous, but you could tell then she'd loop around. She did it like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
They're just playing, you could tell.
I saw my 3 out here 2 days ago, or yesterday morning.
Yesterday morning, when you were getting ready to come over and pick me up, or come over to my house to go to Cabela's, you posted a picture. You had 3 right
here in the back. That's the first deer I've seen this year. I don't know if they were wintering somewhere else. I don't know. We don't put anything out here for them, so we see them occasionally. But this winter, didn't see any in the backfield, to speak of. I did see a few maybe a month ago, just briefly, cruising through real quick. But these were feeding. They were feeding through.
I seen a couple. It wasn't this field. It was
on down.
They were way in the back corner.
Yeah.
But you're right. I haven't seen really many up.
Usually we see them here all the time.
Yeah, I know during the summer when we'll do our show from the back porch, we'll sit there and watch them.
Right.
We'll watch them graze on through. And so, but
I think they're coming out of their wintering quarters. They're getting back to their normal routines now, looking for other food, coming back to their home range. That's what we were seeing as I came back from up north. Was it last weekend I was up? Yeah, last weekend.
Yeah, last weekend you were up. And we've had reports from Wisconsin. Greg Miller over there posted a picture. He said they're breaking.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
Spring is getting here. Actually, tomorrow, the weather's supposed to turn here. It's supposed to be nice finally, getting into the 50s. We just broke 40 today. We haven't been above 40, 42 for the last 3 or 4 weeks.
I noticed as I was walking up to your front door that the ice is hanging on for dear life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's getting thinner, though.
It's getting thinner, but it's hanging on.
We got snow and ice in the front of the house because our house faces north. And as the sun is progressively moving and coming back to the northern hemisphere here, it keeps creeping that snow line back. But we still got a little snow in front of the house.
So hopefully by the end of this week, the snow will all be gone.
Better be.
We'll be getting into Easter.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of...
if we do a show, we might do it on Saturday if we do a show.
Yeah, it might be Saturday morning. If we do, chime in. Be ready. We don't know what time yet. We'll put a teaser out and let you know. If we do, we're going to ask you guys, if anybody has any questions, throw them our way. If you would like to come on the show, PM us and shoot us your contact
and what
phone number, and we'll call you.
Contact and content of what you want to talk about on the show.
Yeah. So we'll be the Easter bunny, and we'll bring the present to you.
Almost like open mic night.
Yeah. Have a little open mic on the Up North Journal.
There you go.
So, we'll see how that goes and how that plays out.
Right, exactly.
Other than that,
it's going to be a good week, quiet week. Hopefully warming up. I kind of got a little bug for fishing. Having the fish fry there.
Right, Cabela's. Yeah, they had the fish and chips.
It might have only been cod, but
that was good.
It was good.
It was really good.
Speaking
of the bug, I saw something today. Always in Cabela's, and it's like, what do I want? I like to get something, But dude, that fishing kayak, I've kind of jonesing for that thing.
Oh yeah,
that was nice.
That 12-foot. It was really nice. It was a 12-foot, 100-pound fishing kayak that you actually can put a battery in it.
Yep.
And you can run electrical equipment off the battery.
Trolling motor.
It's got controls for on, off, your power.
Mm-hmm.
You can run electronic equipment, trolling motor, all off this thing.
Yeah.
It was pretty, and you can stand up in it.
Yeah. It's got a little deck with rubber mat on it.
Yeah.
It's
kind of neat. And the one outfitter said, "Why not for duck hunting?"
Yeah. So it kind of caught my eye. I got some Cabela bucks that I want to spend, and you might see that thing sitting here on the trailer this coming week.
And if we do, we'll have to take the camera out there and go show it off.
Yeah, absolutely. I should have took pictures of it. But this is a new model they just brought in. Actually, it's through because Bass Pro bought Cabela's.
Yeah, we think it's a bring over from Bass Pro.
Yeah, at least that's what the outfitter told us.
Right.
Yeah, because I got on the website immediately when I got home, and I could not find it. So that's what I'm thinking.
Exactly. So you got the bug for that guy.
Yeah. I thought, I even mentioned because it's got that little walking deck on it, how stable it is. That's the key. Maybe for bow fishing.
Right? That's a possibility. The only thing about bow fishing, though, is, man, depending on what lake you are,
yeah,
you might have a lot of paddling to get to the boat part.
Yeah, you might have a lot of paddling. And, yeah, especially if you get across the lake and your trolling motor, the battery runs down.
Well, that's another thing, right?
Then you got to paddle back.
Yeah, so. I know you might have a trolling motor, which gets you across at such a speed.
Yeah.
But wherever it dies,
you're done.
Right, exactly. So, that's one thing I wish I don't know if they're going to have that in the summer. I don't know if they ever do that, like a demo thing, like put a kayak in a pool or something, so you can.
Where would they do it there?
Well, that's the question. I'm assuming we could get a pool brought in, but I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, liability-wise, I bet
I'm
they
sure
wouldn't do it.
I'm sure there's a ton of liability, blah blah blah. But it would be nice to be able to say, hey,
try a kayak.
Try it. Here's a pool or a pond or something we have. Float. Just so I'd like to actually try that and stand up in it and see that.
Right.
How it works. Right. Because it had the plugs too.
Right.
Now, do you got to have those plugs in, or do you got to?
Yeah. Or is that a drain? To use as a drain.
I saw a drain on it, so I was like, but a tryout pond would be nice.
That would be nice. Yeah. I wonder how close is the nearest boat launch, public boat launch?
From there?
Yeah.
Oh, not far at all.
I wonder if
it's actually the road we go in on.
Yeah.
Just go straight 3/4 of a mile. There's a public access.
Well, why couldn't you maybe have a demo day down there? Something maybe I'll talk to him about.
Right. Exactly. And actually, if you walk along that road right there, should be coming up. If we walk along that road, you used to be able to shoot carp in there.
Okay.
You used to carp hunt there.
Carp hunt. I like that. So. All right. Well.
All right. Let's get on it. Any questions? I don't see any questions.
No. Kind of looks like we're wrapping up ship here.
Yeah. Let's finish this up and have a good week.
Everybody have a good Easter.
If we don't get on there, we'll have a good Easter, everybody.
Have a good Friday.
Have a good Friday.
Yep.
A happy Easter.
Yep.
And a happy Easter.
Yep.
And if not, we don't see you next week. We'll see you in 2.
That's right. So we're going to sign off here on the podcast now. So everybody, hey, Charles is back on. Good deal. Thanks for tuning back in here. But we're going to wrap up the podcast portion. And if you're still on the live stream, if you got questions, throw them our way. So that'll do it for us this week here at the Up North Journal. And don't forget, you can catch us in syndication at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on goodtalkradio.com. This episode was brought to you by PSE Archery,
Carbon Express,
4th Arrow Camera Arms,
Winsent Hunting Center,
Killer Food Plots, Seeds, Supplements, and Attractants,
Cabela's,
Spot Shooters,
Limb Walker Turkey,
Antler Action,
Family Tradition Tree Stands,
and Twisted Mind Bowstrings.
Thanks for listening, and join us again here next week. Until then, remember, as we always like to say, if you're out on the water or in the woods, shoot straight and be safe until next week on the Up North Journal.